So welcome everyone, happy Monday. Let's get started. So we got a few announcements up there. Actually, it's got it as read only, but Alessio, do you want to give us a quick run through of D? I think this is worthy more of than just a read only, right?
Yeah, sure. So we have been affected by this problem. That was even more frequent recently, where basically due to a design of our pipeline engine, if a pipeline from a downstream project quality, in this case, our quality pipeline failed, and this failed the whole deployment pipeline, and some QA engineer restarted the pipeline itself, then they were taking ownership of everything upstream, and those deployment were just blocked because then they had no permission to trigger a real deployment in downstream into the deployed project. So we've been working with them to find a workaround. Last week we implemented one which was kind of a bit too complex, where we're creating a new child pipeline that was verifying the ownership as well. But then we realized that in order to do so, we had to give all the quality department permission to create tags on ops on release tools. So we quickly gave this for a couple of days just to, it was still better than because the deployment itself was still protected because they had no permission to trigger a deployment, but so they could run a pipeline in release tools. But we changed this again, so it's no longer triggering a dynamic child pipeline, but the check itself is just regular job. So now we have this simpler workaround that is actually working. We tested it this morning, and yeah, so that's it. And
awesome.
discussion
Well
item.
Before I jump on, I just wanted to say, well done, Alessio, and everyone who joined in that discussion. So Ruben, Myra, I know you were also on there, but well done for getting this unblocked so rapidly. It's a real huge one.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for the help. So discussion point. It's still kind of an announcement, but I want to quickly understand if people are aware of this. So it is possible to join release management temporarily. You get all the permission, you get part of the release manager's Slack handle, which means that if you are covering for someone for half a day, 1 day, whatever, you can get all the baking time notification, people pinging release managers, everything, you get it. And overnight for us in Europe, so 4 a.m. UTC, it resets because it's the point in time when we align all the permissions. So if you forget to remove this temporary things, it just goes away. So if you want to rejoin or to leave early, this is documentation there that explains you how to join, how to leave.
Is that just for the Slack handle or also for the GitLab handle?
Everything. You'll get all the permission on all the project, which also means, going to give an example. If you are covering for a patch release, so this is something that happened with Graham. Graham was trying to do a patch release and it was not officially a release manager, so he couldn't merge the blog post. I think, I don't remember. It was something they couldn't merge, or maybe he couldn't merge on the stable, no, he couldn't merge on the stable branches, because the preparation merge requests requires a release manager. So if you are covering someone, you find yourself blocked even for permissions problem, that thing will give you all the power in the world. So use it wisely. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing that. What I might do, I haven't put it on here, but what I'm vaguely thinking about is for that page in the docs, I may split that in half and have it so that we have a release management page for I'm a brand new release manager, I'm about to start, and then we can have a second page, which is I'm a returning release manager, and it might have more stuff that's more relevant to, I haven't had a shift for 3 months and I just want to refresh. So I'll let you know if I do, but I may split that page in two as well.
Yeah, even in terms of surprise, if Matt or Jenny are going to try that pipeline, it will just fail for them, because you first need to be to do the first enrollment as a release manager. So it means that you first need to add yourself into config/release manager.yaml. So you have there your name, your username on all the environments, your Slack handle, and then you are allowed to run the thing.
And don't worry about doing that just yet, you two. Like, we have another onboarding issue for onboarding into release management that we'll open up for you in a like maybe a month or so. Awesome. Should we jump to 3?
Yeah, unless there are other discussion that we want to add last minute, we can jump into 3. Okay, no one is speaking. So yes, the first part of 3 is just a call for help. It's related to the first announcement we did. If the validate ownership check is failing, you will see a message like this one that I screenshot. You see failed job, bottom right corner, failed job, validate ownership, something, name of the environment. Please, 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 if you see this, act. So restart the thing, because this may happen not during so this happened before the promotion. This could happen between staging, canary staging, production staging. So maybe there's no release manager around closely looking at this type of error, but the pipeline will not restart until someone clicked that button. So everyone that is in that config release manager YAML, if they see something like this, please click the failed job and retry the job. It will just reset the pipeline and will work as expected.
And on that, if you're going to do that, stick the eyes emoji on and then stick the green tick emoji on, so that we don't all have 8 people all doing the same thing, right? So if you see it and you're going to take action, please indicate so, so that we don't have everyone. Great.
Yeah.
Can we automate that, or does it have to be one of us? I think in theory it can be automated, right? Like for the bot to do it instead of us.
We can even automate this with what's the name? With the webhooks, so that it actually is real time. But yeah, if someone wants to log an issue about this, we can take a look. But yeah, in the meantime, if you see the failure, please retry it. And then I'm going to quickly go through the numbers of the release this week, because there are some cool things to show. So let me share my screen. Okay, so that's the last week. Let me move all your faces closest to my camera so that I can look at all of you while I'm speaking. Here you are. Okay, so last week was good. I mean, we were doing good. We're doing well every day, with some very good day and some kind of wasting 1 or 2 packages. So I think that wasting 1 package is okay, is normal, because you always want to have something in the pipeline ready for next, right? So it's kind of makes sense to always have something ready that is running. Sometimes we had things like here when we have 3 packages, because these are all the problems that we had. I think that's the note. Yeah, that's the pipeline ownership problem. So we were hitting really hard this week on the pipeline ownership. That's why we're also trying to have the fix. So, I mean, compare it to, we'll compare later. So that's that one. This is the number of active pipeline. That's interesting because we finally have almost 1 week of data, even though we have a window here which was completely broken. So when we introduced the fix for the pipeline ownership, we broke the metric itself. So everything in here makes no sense. But basically, what I said here. Okay, so that's when staging was offline for doing a composition test. Then we had a couple of QA failure, an omnibus problem, and finally a broken deployment due pipeline ownership. So we can clearly see this ramping up. We ended up having how much? 6 packages. and basically one was running or so 3 failed deployment and things in between, waiting for some manual action or just trying to do something. What we like is something like this. That's the weekend. So basically we had over the weekend 3 packages ready for promotion, but obviously no one was promoting over the weekend. So this is kind of a baseline. So we ended up the week with 3 packages after the last successful deployment. And that's this morning. So we started building new packages. And so we saw the numbers going up, and then we see going down for every deployment. So we started the week as expected we are deploying everything this morning. So far everything is in promotion. This number should go down in 30 minutes, I think, when we reach the promotion, because we promoted the package, so there is a delay, and this should go down to 1. So that's good. This is good as well. We were doing 4 or 5 deployments each day, which is good. I was trying to find an answer for this here, which is very interesting. So it looks like we were always below the 12-hour median value. And I was trying to figure out, but then the call started, if this was reflected here. I think so. Is it? So that's the, no, 17th of June. That's delayed, right? So we still have no numbers here. Is that correct, Amy? Because we're building the Sisense not in real time.
It is not in real time. Yeah, it's updated weekly, maybe.
Because here I have from, what is this, 13 to 17th, I think. If something.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think it gets updated at the end of the week. Yeah.
Oh, so 17 is still.
It's Friday. So that's pretty accurate, right? Like you wouldn't have you wouldn't have today's data yet.
Let me try. Yeah, but I don't care. I was looking at last week, right? So I want to see, because this is below the target.
That is on the other one that you have last week as well, right?
No, sorry, I was speaking over you.
on the other chart you have last week as well.
Yes, because that's this is 17th of June.
Yeah.
So it's here. And so let me remove, I want to remove the average because I don't have there as well as this one. Yeah, I think we are there. It's going up a couple of times because numbers are not exactly the same because of the way we track this. I mean, I think that roughly they're telling the same story. Amy, you're looking at the
I think
screen.
it's like the 15th is the really interesting one, because I think when you see MTTP low, it's often because we've had a couple that are significantly below. So I think if you look compared to the 7th to the 11th, I think the real difference is that we had a nice chunk between the 14th and the 16th where it was like consistently below or right on it. So that will have a huge impact on MTTP. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And yeah, it's reflected here as well. So this is what I want to say. Because we started looking at those graphs recently, but we used to look at the other one. I think that we can continue taking a look at this one because they are nicer and they're part of the product and they're basically telling the same story. So I was just trying to see if you're looking at the right thing. Okay, that's all I have about.
Alessio, did you just suggest that we could stop using Sisense for this?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
So we certainly
Can
can
we make
within the
that
team.
official?
We have a slight difficulty, which is the key metrics. So because MTTP is also a key metric, so it won't come out of the handbook, but certainly if somebody wants to have a chat with Marion about the Slack alert, it must be on his account, I guess, right? Because it's always been there. So if someone wants to get that switched over to the one on the product, then yeah, go for it.
I think we need to wait there's an issue the team is working on, which is about having the URL so the page that was showing, because I'm no longer sharing, no, I'm not. The page that I was showing is always reset to last week. and you can't really, so they're working on some way to, and also you can, because there's the same page for all the for different metrics, I think. So they're working on something where the URL reflects the date range and what you are looking at, right? So when this is done, probably we can change the link.
Nice.
Okay, that's all on my side.
Awesome. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up? Stop the recording.